Yeah.
All right. So we're at the top of the hour. I'm going to go ahead and get going because we always fill our time. So every moment is important. So I'm going to share my screen really quick. I have just a couple slides to share. All right. So this event, it's the second one we've done for, well, actually the first for this year because the last one we did was the first, but it was December. So this is all about the Developing Impact Network map that we're creating. So these few slides are just going to first give us a sense of the why behind this that we're doing. But first, I've got the agenda. So we're going to go over the purpose and the goals. So that will be the why behind what we're doing and the why behind this meeting today. We're going to, because there's only a few of us, we'll spend a few minutes in introductions, hopefully get a sense of who's joined us. I'm going to then orient you to the map. So the mapping tool and the map we've created thus far. Then you get some time exploring the map. So Nancy, we won't have you in the map. You won't have access, but we're going to spend that time letting those who are on the call with us who are members of the network get in and actually add themselves or update their profiles on the map. And then we're going to have some feedback and discussion. We'll wrap up next steps. And then as we like to do, we will end in what we call networking conversations. So the first part, the actual event is 60 minutes. The networking conversations is an additional 30 minutes if you're able to stay with us. And if there's enough people, we'll put you in breakout rooms so you can really get to know those who are on the call with us today. And if there's just a handful of us, then we'll just stay in the same room and network together. So the why behind the map. As you know, if you know HRC very well, our mission is to identify, connect, support, and illuminate healthcare changemakers, those who I like to call ruckus makers. And the map helps us to facilitate those connections and collaborations. It visualizes it, and it helps us or will help us identify gaps where relationships perhaps can emerge and collaborations can begin. It's going to help provide insights into HRC's network, so what we call our network of network. And then it's going to enable us to have this be a dynamic resource in building this network of networks. And again, to see where our gaps are, where we can identify people or organizations, entities that perhaps have such alignment that connection would be good if we're not seeing that connection on the map. So why this event? Well, we want to demonstrate the developing map, orient you to it. And it's a tool that we want our members to know about and be accessing, to find value in it to the point that they recognize that updating their profile and connections in the map will be valuable to them and the rest of the community. We want to collect your feedback. So we call this our minimally viable product. We are just stepping into this. We have a big vision of what this can become, but it will only become valuable to our network if our network helps us to create it. So the collection of feedback here is critical. And I'll actually in a moment tell you about what we heard in December that we've already added to the map that you're going to view today. And then, as you know, our purpose is to identify and connect. We want you to find each other. So if you haven't met each other yet, those of you who are with us today, we want this to be that opportunity where you can meet and make new connections, or if you already know each other, you can deepen relationships. So now I can see everybody, so I can see that Trisha and Grace and Michelle joined us while I was sharing the screen. I'm so glad you're here. There's just a few of us, so I'd love to give just a few moments for each of you to say who you are, where are you located, what is your organization that you're with, or what are you creating, a quick highlight of who you are and what you're doing. So Virgil, I'm going to go ahead and call on people. You're up in my upper right hand. I'm going to call on you first.
Yeah, Virgil Snyder, Camino Island today,
Oh,
Washington State. I'm associated, or well, I'm retired from Boeing after 36 years, process and tools engineering. Currently, I am a hospital commissioner for a public hospital district in Kirkland, Washington, Evergreen Health. My passion, and what kind of brought me to this was the aspect of just my 18 to 24 years here of kind of being a community advisor, but now being a commissioner, just seeing how the healthcare system is apparently broken to me.
mm,
Portions of it are broken. Portions of it yield to from the payer to the provider to the patient and so forth in long-term care. There's just certain portions in there are reaping great benefits to the degradation of others
mm.
in terms of like patients and so forth. So I'm all about the patient representing the community. So I'm looking out for that interest and trying to see what we can do to make a change.
Excellent. Thanks, Virgil. Michelle, you're next in my circle here.
Excellent. Hi, everybody. Good to see you. I'm Michelle Fritsch. I'm a doctor of pharmacy, board certified in geriatrics, and I do a couple of things. One, probably the main reason I'm here is Medipreneurs. So I gather health professional entrepreneurs, the ones, Virgil, that got frustrated and jumped out to start their own business. We don't know how to run businesses, so pulling us together. And then I also work with people nearing retirement to make sure they've got a solid plan for health and purpose.
Thanks, Michelle. Trisha, you're next.
Hi, everybody. I have served most recently as an assistant vice president of patient experience at a academic medical center here in Durham, North Carolina. And I have been in patient experience for about 25 years. Before that, I was in celebrity assisting and public relations. So I'm kind of using all of that right now to launch Bahay Kubo, which means home in Filipino, to try to help individuals find home within themselves to be better parts of a group. And I'm specifically trying to focus on executives within conferences so that they could be bringing back information and transformational change back to their home organizations.
Mhm. Excellent. Grace, are you available to introduce?
Hi.
Hey.
Yes, Grace Kistner. I'm a nurse. I have been in healthcare and promotion since 2007. My clinical specialty is ICU. I'm just all about promoting nursing professional development and entrepreneurship and innovation. That takes a couple different forms, including environmental health and justice, climate and health, nursing leadership and policy, and supporting nurses at all levels and all settings to promote healthcare reform. So happy to be here.
Excellent, Grace. Nancy.
Hello, I'm Nancy Rohr, and I recently retired from being a manager of a breast imaging center. And so I'm just here to learn and kind of find my way now that I'm not doing that anymore. I did that for about 25 years.
Jeez. Wow. And Dawn.
Dawn Ellison, retired emergency medicine physician, and I'm co-founder with Denise and Paul of HRC. And my passion related to HRC is bringing people together, hosting more horizontal meetings and leadership, and just trying to name and connect and nourish and illuminate the ruckus makers that are in this space. So glad that you're all here.
And I'm Denise Wiseman. I'm just going to say I'm a healthcare ruckus maker.
Yes, hey, just a quick intro before I can find my desk.
Good.
What else has to? I'm an anesthesiologist based in Michigan, and I'm a clinical researcher as well. That's my day job. But what brings me here is I'm an aspiring entrepreneur. So I started a company, and I'm having a couple of initiatives, one of which is trying to highlight patient and the clinician experience in the hospital and in the healthcare practice in general. So I do that through a series of things, one of which is a survey proposal that we can ask anybody in any country, basically anything about their clinical experience. And I'm building that project, and you'll probably be hearing more about it in the next coming sessions.
Wonderful. I'm so glad each of you joined today. This is very much an interactive. So the next thing I'm going to do is orient you to this developing impact network map. So I'm going to show you kind of how you play around in it. I'm going to then show you how you build your profile in it and make your connections. Then I'm going to give you the link to come in here and play because your profiles are here. Nancy, you're the only one that doesn't have one. I apologize. I can probably build one for you though, when everybody else is playing, I'll build you one and then get you out here. And then we'll have an opportunity for you to give us some feedback because that's where we're going to find some really good value is from your experience in using it. What worked, what didn't, what would you like to see? What's your wish? That's what we're wanting to hear. And I'll highlight a couple things that we heard from the group that joined us in December that we've already made a change to in the map. So you're getting to play with those new changes today. So I'm going to go. Please feel free to ask questions as we go. I'm going to be looking at what I'm doing. So Dawn, if you'll let me know if somebody's raised a hand or dropped something in the chat, that would be very helpful. So this is the map. And when I say that, we're talking about what they call a social network map. So what you might not be able to see is each of these dots is a person. And I'm going to show you a little bit more about that in just a moment. But I want to orient you to this space first. So we have a number of different views that I've built. This first one is called people and connections. So these dots are people. They're people who are in the HRC network, a few who are not, but most of them are within our network. And these lines are identification of connections. And so I'll show you more about that in just a moment. We've also built one of my favorite views is what's called the geo view. And so this one shows all those same people. If they've given us their postal code in their profile, I'll show you what that means in a moment, then it puts them on the map. And so what you'll see here is we've got a bunch of people who are all floating out here in the ocean, just having a good old time because we don't have their postal code. So the system just drops them there. But you'll see that we do have one person who joins us from Ireland. And then the rest, we have a Canadian, but everybody else is US based. And so I'm hopeful, because I know many of you don't have your profiles filled out yet, I'm hopeful we're going to get those postal codes from you today as you get time to play with that, and we're going to get you on the map. But we're going to play in the people and connections for a moment as I orient you. And that's one of the things I wanted you to see. When we jump in, it kind of bubbles everyone around, and then it gives you the big picture. There's a couple things to look at here. So what you can see is it's adjusting. It just will automatically adjust itself and put people into buckets. So these are individuals whose profiles have not been updated. They haven't yet gotten out here, and nobody has made a connection to them. So you can see these others that are gray. They probably also have not come out here and done their profile, but somebody within here has made a connection line to them. And I'll show you more about that in just a moment. What I want to show you is if we use these, you can zoom in and zoom out. So you can zoom in or you can zoom out. Or if you've gotten way in looking at something, if you hit this zoom to fit, it's going to put everything on the map and make it so you can see everything in one spot. The other thing that happens is when you click on one of these, they're called nodes. I'm going to click on this one. You'll see I clicked on myself. That will come up on that side panel, and anything that I've put into my profile will display for you. So you can get to know a little bit about who I am based off the survey we've created that you're going to get to go fill in your details to. And you get a sense of who I am. You can email with me. If you share your email, you can find some of my links. And if I now hit, so I've hit myself, I know that I'm over in the profile. If I hit this focus button here, it now it clears everybody else away other than those that I've come in and made connections with, or they've made connections with me. It puts me in the center because I've focused on this node, which just happens to be me. But if we were to pick on somebody else's node and do that same thing, it would focus on them in the center. What you can see here is, of course, most of the people in our network right now, I know, and so there's a lot of people that are connected to me. When we look at these connections, you can see that the lines have different colors, and those colors indicate a different strength of connection. And so down here, let me bump out. Down here, you can see there's a filter here. When I click on that, if I hit collaborator, that shows you that the green lines indicate that we've identified, or I've identified with them, that there's a relationship there of collaboration. If I hit acquaintance, then now you can see the light gray non-bolded lines identify I know them or they know me, but we don't have a relationship beyond that. So this indicates the level of relationship. And one of the things, of course, we're working on is how do we develop relationships within our network? So we're going to be watching for these to change as people start to, one, first get aware of each other, two, start to have some generative interactions. Maybe that's a really excellent conversation. They share a panel conversation together, something of that nature, or they move towards collaboration. And of course, we're wanting collaboration to come together with through these connections. The other thing I'm going to show you with those connections, if I come in a little bit more.
Looks like Michelle might have a question.
Oh, thank you, Michelle.
Is there like a hierarchy here where a collaborator is the most tight connection, the most lucrative, not lucrative, but the most action-oriented connection? I assume acquaintance is at the bottom. Where do the other
That's
ones?
right. So there's awareness. I'm aware of them. I've never met them, but I'm aware of them. There's acquaintance. I've met them. So maybe this is the first time some of you have come to an event like this, and you do get to know each other kind of. Now you're an acquaintance. Then you do a one-on-one conversation, or you're in a workshop together and you have some really good engagement. That would be a generative interaction. A collaborator, you're really collaborating on something, right? So yes, there is. To what you asked, it is kind of like a hierarchy. It's a hierarchy of relationship. Yeah. That's a good question. So you can see here, if I hover on Paul, you can see that those lines go both ways, where if I hover on Ellen, they only go one way. Well, if I go here again on Paul, well, I know I can click that line. You'll see over here that I've identified a relationship with Paul at a level of collaborator. So the system gives it a weight of 4 that equates to collaborator. And if I click on the other line, then that tells me that Paul has come in here and done the same. So he's come in and said we're at the level of collaborator. There are instances where one of the lines out to somebody, and I need to unfilter this to show that, where one of the lines out to somebody with me is one color, and here it is. With Rosanna, you can see that one of the lines is blue and one of the lines is green. So if I click on that, then I can see that I said of Rosanna that we've had generative conversations, and Rosanna has said we've had a collaboration. Well, what that does for me is says, oh, yeah, no, that's right. Rosanna and I did recently collaborate. I need to update that connection. But it gives you a sense of, is there an equal understanding of those two in regards to their relationship? I don't want to go into too much. I'm really orienting you on this tool. The next one that I wanted to show you was if you take your cursor and you hold down the left, so you get the hand there. If you see my cursor changes, now I can move this thing around. So if you're in really tight and you want to be able to move, you can just grab that board and move it around. So I'm just orienting you. Again, I did show you if you hover over a node, it will gray out any non-connections. And so I had already hovered and then centered in on Rosanna and I. So I need to clear that focus so that that comes off. And so if I hover on Alex here, you can see everything else grays out. So you get a really good idea of her connections in there. The side panel here, I showed you if I clicked on a node, then I'll know what they've put into their profile. To close this out, it's hard to see, but there's an X at the upper corner here, and you can close out and get back to those views. I'll do that again so you can see here's Mathardiva, I think is how you say her name, and you can see that X here, and you can close that out and then be able to get to those views. The next one I want to show you is we have a search feature in here, and this is one of the items that we had feedback last time we met. They wanted a search feature, and I couldn't figure out why we didn't have it, and that's because I'd put one of our filters up over it, so you couldn't see the search bar, but it's back now. So what you'll see is I'm going to show you a couple things. If I type in PX, which I know stands for patient experience, and I know people who probably put that in their profile, you'll see here it is searching. It's searching on anything in somebody's profile, and what it found for Sally, because she hasn't been out here doing anything else, but it found it in her email. But if I were looking for individuals who are perhaps focused on patient experience, by searching PX, I'm finding them come up. I could also search on data because I know Rosanna is a data storyteller, and there's data in one of the fields that she answered in her profile. So you can put keyword searches in here and find from their profile those individuals. So if you're trying to find something about people, that search bar is there. So the next thing I want to show you, I'm going to close that out. I'm going to put us back into this view. I want to show you this collaboration filter. So this is a brand new view that we've created, and you probably didn't notice it. Not much change, but look here at, this is a filter. Watch at the bottom. If I go to people and connections, that's not there. So this is a different view. And what it's now letting us do is view something else. I'm going to close that side panel. So you'll see those three dots. You can open and close that side panel. But to get more real estate here, I'm going to go to this first filter. And this is a question in the profile asking if you're open to collaborating. And so I'm going to first say select all. And what this shows us is only 4 people have answered that question. So Testy Testerson, Dawn, Vicky, and I have answered that question. Now, Dawn, I went into your profile and answered it for you just so I could do this example. Maybe you don't want to collaborate. You can go in there and change that if you'd like. I'm going to show you because I had hit select all. If I click on off no, you can see that Testy goes away. And that's because Testy's response was no, I'm not open to collaborating, which is fine. People may not be available right now to collaborate. But Vicky, Dawn, and I have said yes to that question. And if you say yes, then it opens up to a second question that asks you, in what way would you be open to collaborating? So here, when I click on sharing resources, they must all have said yes to sharing resources because none of them went away. But if I click on partnering on research or pilot projects, Dawn and Vicky went away because they did not check that as something they would be open to collaborating on. If I click on offering mentorship, Dawn said yes to that. So it gives you an idea of in what manner are they open to collaborating. And then from there, and I'm going to go to sharing resources, so all 3 of us are out here because I know we all picked that. This next filter down here, this is another question in the profile. And this question asks you, what are your healthcare interests? And when I open this, you'll see there's going to be a long list that you can answer from. Right now, I'm going to hit select all or none. And when I do that, you see Vicky went away. And that's because she hasn't answered anything in that question. So once she comes in here and update her profile and perhaps identifies a few of those, you'll be able to see what Vicki is open to collaborating on. But what I'm going to show you is I'm not interested in all of these. I'm going to unselect, I'm going to say primary care. Primary care, Dawn's interested in that. So now I know, well, one, we're already in a collaborative relationship, so I could easily reach out to Dawn. But it could be that Dawn's connections would be best for me to reach out to because Dawn and I already work with. And so we'd be able to then look at if more people had answered that question and I were not connected to somebody that Dawn is connected with, I'd be able to show you that next functionality where her connections are showing like they do on that other view I was doing. But right now, if I click, there's no way for me to click the centering or expand because only a couple of us answered that question. That might seem confusing right now, but once you guys go in and answer that question, we're going to come out here and play with this a little bit. But that's a quick orientation to that new view. This view was created because of those who joined us last month in the December session saying, I want to find people who want to collaborate. And so we created this view, and we're hoping that people will update their profiles so this can become robust and very powerful. So that's a quick overview of the map. Now I want to walk through what do you do when I give you the link to get in here? What do you then do? So when I give you the link, you're going to end up on this first tab. So you may not have noticed there were 4 tabs across. We just spent the time in the map, but you're going to start in the bio. And so down below, you're going to be able to add a profile picture if you'd like us to have an image of you. And then you get 140 characters to give us a quick, who are you? And I'll show you where that shows on your profile in just a moment. Then you're going to go to your profile, and this is a survey. None of these fields are required. You can give us as much information or as little information as you would like. But when I go here, putting in my name, right now, not all profiles have this automatically populated, so you might want to type in your name. That will give your image that name to it. You might have a nickname that you'd like to put in here instead. Maybe your formal name is, for me, my formal name's Denise, but my friends and family, my really close friends and family call me Dee. Do you want to share contact information? So if you say no, or if you say yes, and this is not, oh, I'm sorry, no, this is working. So you'll see that when I click no, then the email and other links go away. If I click yes, you can put in your email, you can put in your LinkedIn URL, your profile link on our digital platform, you could put in a personal website. Do you want to share your location? And there's a comment here that if you give us your postal code, we'll get you on the GeoMap. So if you click yes, then you can give us your town, state, country, and postal code. Again, none of these are required. Postal code will get you on that GeoMap. If you say no, then you won't have those questions to fill out. Then you can answer the rest of the questions. If you pick other for any of these, you can type in what other is. So there's just a few questions out here. Again, fill out the ones you want to. The ones you don't want to, you can leave them. But here's the collaboration questions. So are you open to collaborating? Again, if you say no, that next question goes away. If you say yes, then it opens up and you can let us know what collaboration. And if you pick other, you can type in something else. And then very, very important, when you're done filling that out, say save your answers or they won't save. I'm not going to hit that because I've made some changes out here that I don't want to save. So if I don't save them, it'll revert back to what I had. The next tab here is connections. Now, what this does is give you those lines to people on the map. So what you'll see here from me, when you're in here with your profile, you will be this first card. It'll be grayed out because you can't be any closer of a connection to you than you already are. So you won't be able to identify a connection. But you'll see these names of people, and you'll see that this one, I have not identified a connection because it's not grayed out. I know that, and it doesn't have a number up here. Now, if I were to click on this, now I get those options. Am I an acquaintance? I'm aware of them, a generative interaction, or a collaborator. Now, I actually don't know this individual, so I'm not going to pick any of this, but I'm going to show you that if I clicked one and I try to click a second, you see how I can't? You can only have one relation line at a time, and then you'll want to save it when you're done. And when you do, that box now becomes gray, and it gives you the number that you put. Now, what's helpful there is if you come in here later to update connections, and for instance, Rosanna and I said I need to change my connection. So now if I go in here and I find Rosanna, there she is, I need to update her from generative to a collaborator and hit save. And so now you can easily come in here and update your collaborations as you get to know people better and you start to have generative interactions or collaborations. Now, the other thing to know is we have over 200 people out here. So as you're scrolling through the list the first time, it can feel like you're scrolling. I recommend a couple things. One, if you know that somebody's a member, you saw that I just searched. So I can go in here and I can find Michelle. Michelle, there you are. And I've identified you and I as a collaborator. But you can come in here and easily find somebody if you know that they're already on the map. You can also, if you go through it once and get them all updated, you can then come out here the next time and just click recent. And that's anybody who's been newly added to the map. And that scroll is going to be less for you. Now you're just going through and finding anybody who's new, assessing your relationship. So once you get through those, then you hit map and you're going to be able to go out there and play. So before I give you the link to go out here and play, what questions do you have?
Virgil has a question.
Excellent.
Yeah, the question I have is on those definitions of collaborative,
Yep.
aware of their work. Do you have definitions of those to kind of help us?
That's a really good ask. I don't right now, but let me walk you through right now. So an acquaintance, I know them by name. So Susie Singer, actually, I need to update that because we're beyond acquaintance. At the time that I originally identified our relationship, I just knew of her. We've actually had, I would call it a generative interaction at this stage. And so I can update that. Awareness of their work is you're aware of them. Acquaintance, you've met them. Maybe you shook hands, maybe you're in a virtual call together. A generative interaction, you have done something of substance. You've had a really good conversation. You've shared an event together. You've more than just an acquaintance. A collaborator to me is somebody you've really dug in and done something together. But yes, I will add those so that people know that's a really good question. Thank you for that. Any other questions?
I would just add to the generative conversations that you've built on each other's ideas. That's how I think about that one.
Yeah, that's good. So I just dropped a link.
Can I use an example?
Yes, Tricia.
So I know that Dawn and I met a couple of times here, and then this week we spent time talking on the phone. Dawn, consider us as, what would you consider us? Because I would probably, based on what you just said, change what I was thinking from generative interaction to still acquaintance, but I don't know if you would do the same.
I don't know. I would have said generative just because we kind of bounced ideas off of each other. But
see, so I'm just trying to see if I would help the group. Okay.
And really, it's you identifying. So I wouldn't get too nitty gritty on it. It's something to think about, though, when you see the other person had given you something else, for you to either think, oh, gosh, I need to update mine. They're right. We've done something. Or, they don't think we have as close of a relationship, which is fine. So I dropped a link. That link is going to come. Let me share my screen. If you haven't already seen it, it's going to look like this. It's going to show you this, and you're going to put your email in. It's the same email that you use to get to the digital platform for HRC. So if you don't remember what email that was, just ask me. I know what email that is. But put that email in, hit send me a link. It'll send you a link. And when you click on that, it's going to bring you into the map, to those 4 tabs that I was just showing you. Nancy, I'm going to build you really quickly. I'm going to add you in, and then you'll be able to come out here and play as well. All right, so you were just added. So now when you click that link, you should be able to put your email in and get the link into the map.
Okay,
I
thanks.
don't see the link though. Did you put it in the chat?
I did.
Oh, you did. Okay, I see
good.
it. For some
Good.
reason, it didn't show up as new.
Okay.
So Denise,
Yeah.
since we have done something within HRC, this is completely different because it doesn't look like I have anything within my.
I know. Thanks for identifying that, Tricia. Yes, our digital platform is separate from this. Right now, we're in minimal viable products, and the tool we have our community on doesn't have this kind of functionality. Our hope is we're going to build in some integration, but for now, you're right. The profiles are empty. I'm sorry. You can copy and paste from your HR what you've entered there. So I am here if you have questions. Otherwise, we're going to give you about, I'm looking at the clock. We're going to give you 10 minutes to play in here. And as you're playing, go ahead and ask questions.
It might be helpful for those who join later. And then there's, say, 100 or 200 profiles, to have those profiles listed and then having the checkboxes next to them instead of opening each one individually. Where
Tell
on
me
the same
more.
page you can select collaborative degrees with multiple people from the same page.
Oh, that's
I
really
don't know
good.
how easy that would be.
Yeah, I would have to talk with the organization who's actually created the tool, but that's a really
Correct.
good feedback to be able
Because
to
eventually,
multi-select. Hmm.
at least the hope is we're going to have hundreds, if not more,
That's right.
of members.
That's right. Rael, that's a really good feedback. We can upload CSV files, so that might be a way to do it as well as have somebody check through a CSV and upload it that way.
Hey, Denise, I have a question.
Yeah,
When the link is sent to you and you go in and sign in and start to build your profile, is it doing it in a internet browser?
it is.
It is.
And it's dynamic because I've just looked, I've seen profile images showing up for most of you and whatnot.
Okay. Okay, I get it. All right, it's under. Okay, I was trying to find the heading and it's under survey.
Oh,
Okay, that was unclear. Okay.
yeah, I see. Yes, you're right. The URL header. That's good feedback, Virgil. Thanks.
And as I scroll down the list, it seems that some names come back that I've already selected before.
You're seeing
So for
duplicates?
example, I don't know if they're duplicates or what's happening because, for example, I saw your profile up top and I selected a collaboration, and then I scroll down a few, and then I see you again, which shows my previous selection.
I think I saw that too.
I would need to explore why it would be doing that. Each person only has or should only have one account, so I don't
It
know
looks
why
like the
it's
same
doing-
account for that person because it's
Huh.
already pre-selected from what I chose. in the
Okay,
beginning.
but that makes you have to
It's
scroll
showing up
longer.
again.
Yeah, that's annoying. Okay, that's really good feedback. Thank you. Can you try if you filter by name, then it does it alphabetically, and I wonder if it will prevent that.
Oh, right now we're filtering by segments.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, by the way, under filters, the first option is a blank option, and it has 9 names for some reason. When you next to the search bar.
Oh, yes. You're looking at filter by. Yes. I don't know what that is. That's a really good. Oh, no, I do know what that is. Those individuals are neither an HRC member or in the public lobby. They joined us in an event where I accidentally had it available for non-members to join.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Just to narrate my progress, I can't
Yeah.
get the first piece because my bio is too long. So it won't let me proceed.
Can you? Yes, that first page, you only get 140 characters.
Yeah,
So can
I-
you just give us a, and for now, you could just put in something small there, Trisha. More
Yeah.
to come, or
Yeah.
I'm also a ruckus maker, something like that. And you can always come back and edit.
Denise, I have my own profile and a Medipreneur's profile. Is this really just for my personal profile? Is that right?
Yes, Michelle, the next thing we want to do is bring in organizations. That's when you do
Okay.
Metapreneurs. Mhm.
Got it.
Where do we find our HRC profile URL?
Yeah, I can share my screen and show you how to do that. Just a second.
I'm just having fun connecting to Testy Testerson.
Testy appreciates that. Thank you very much. If you know me, I'm a dog lover, so you can see the image profile there for him. So when you're in the HRC platform, if you go up to your image at the very top and click in and click your name, now you're on your profile, and that's the URL you would grab and put
Okay.
into that line.
Thank you.
Yep. All right, so you can keep playing with that. You can play with it outside of this meeting. There's just a couple things that I want to show you, and then I would love to get some feedback from you. So the one thing I want to share with you is we did get feedback. Let me pull this back up. We got feedback last time about making it easy to find this map. And so we have added this to, come on. Sorry, my computer has not been happy today. There we go. We have added it to the platform over here. So at the very bottom of the left-hand panel, you can get to the website and you can get to this map login. So if you click that, it's going to automatically get you there, put in your email, and you'll get to the map. So we made an easy access to the map. Oh, that's right. The other thing I wanted to show you So those are the three things from last session that we've updated. We've made a quick access to the map. We've created that collaboration view, and we've corrected the ability to search within the map. I'm going to hopefully show how things have changed a little bit in a moment. So if you've updated your profiles, I should be able to go in and show what you look like before this event and what you look like now. And that's what we're trying to see is over time, how does this map shift? Because profiles are getting updated and connections are being identified. But before we go there, I'd love just for an open, what do you think about this? This is the minimal viable testing place. What did you like? What would you like to see? Yeah, go. I see you, Michelle.
I think I'm still learning.
Yeah.
So the little bit of time I had in the map, it was still confusing as to how to, like, in particular, how to hone in on my connections and see the colors. It took a while to even find myself. I had to use the search. So I think I just need more time with it.
Yeah, yeah. And that's a really, I'm glad you use the search because that's what I do often is I'll put a name in there and be able to focus in on somebody. Yes. Do you want me to show you how to focus in again? Or do you feel like you have it, you're just playing with it?
Yeah, if I'm the only one that took a minute to do it, you can keep moving on.
Well, I'm going to share just in case and somebody else can talk while we're going. So if you're in the map and you're right, you're on this page where there's all sorts of people everywhere, you did it what I would do. I would go and find myself and it hones in this way. But then if you hit right here, this focus right here, then it's just you. And oops, have you not identified connections to others yet?
I did a whole bunch.
Okay, so if I expand, there we go. I needed to expand. So I'm going to show you what I just did. I'm going to clear the focus. I'm going to pick on somebody else. Let's see what YL has done. I'm going to focus, and there's YL. And if I go expand, focus, there he is. And then if I can always go back down or expand. And the next one out is going to give me, so we have his connections and then who his connections are connected to. And again, you can go back down and see his connections. I'm glad you asked, Michelle.
Very helpful. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Did I miss, there's a way that you get notified if somebody connects with you? And also, there's no, like, if I connect with you, Denise, for example, do you have to approve or agree that we have the same kind of connection? Or if you make a connection with me, does it just automatically show up on my profile?
Great question. So first, there isn't currently a notification in this tool that we're using. We're exploring that because I like that idea. And two, the way that we know, so you can make a connection to me, that gives that one loop, and then me making a connection to you gives that closed loop. And where we know the agreement is the color, right? If you said we're an acquaintance, it's the gray. And if I said we're generative, it's blue. And so then we see there's a disconnect in regards to how we say our relationship is, which is just insight. All right, feel free to offer anything else. We are coming to the end, so I'm going to go ahead and start kind of the wrap up, but I would love to hear more from each of you. So one of the things I did want to show was the difference in the map. So in the beginning, most of you had not come out to this tool yet. You were either unaware of it or just didn't have access to it. And so there were your profile wasn't there, your images weren't there, your connections weren't there. And so I had gone through and looked and there wasn't anything there. What I just showed you was, Michelle, you've got a profile now, you've got connections made. YL, I saw yours as well, and I'm going to assume that others did the same. What I want to do after this is I'll take a screenshot of what it looked like afterwards and I'll include that in the summary. The other thing was the importance of giving us feedback. So this was new to you. Last session when we had people join us, some of those had already been out here playing in the map. So they knew about and knew what they wanted. This might have been your first touch. So it's going to be on, if you're like me, you kind of got to think about it for a while, maybe come back out and play a little bit, see what insights you're seeing, and ask yourself, what would I like to see? So the vision going forward is that this is a dynamic tool that will elevate your ability to find people. So right now in our digital community space, it's kind of hard. You can see everybody, but can you find them and know, are they open for collaboration? What is their specialty? What are they really focused in on? So this tool lets us to do some of that filtering, but to be able to kind of close in a narrow view and then get that big picture. Next month, when we come together, we are hoping to have a view that will have a couple organizations or entities out there. Michelle, Metapreneurs is on the list because you're connected with us. You have a network space on the HRC platform. So we want to be able to show that and who is in that space with you. So that will have that connection of HRC and the people around it, Metapreneurs, and the smaller subset who's around it. So we'll be focusing in on that because one of our goals is to be a network of network. To be able to show when you click on Metapreneurs, you can see that side panel of who is this organization. You can see who's connected. You can see, oh, I'm connected to somebody who's connected with that. I can go find out more about Metapreneurs and then hopefully start to step in and engage with. That's the idea, is to be able to learn more about those individuals and organizations who are purpose driven and wish to develop relationships and collaborations. I'm so glad each of you joined us today. Thank you. I know it's a time commitment. It's a Friday. So I appreciate that you're here, that you did this. And right now we're going to step into the networking conversations, which is one of the things that I love to do. Virgil, I know you said you could only stay with us for the first hour. I'm sorry to see you go, but I understand.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Yep, thank you. Who else needs to leave? It helps me to know about putting into breakout rooms, or if there's only a few of us, then we can stay in one big room. But right now, this is a good group. We could actually do breakouts where you're one-on-one with somebody else and really get to know.
I'll probably stay for a few minutes
Perfect.
before the storm gets a little worse.
Okay.
One quick feature suggestion.
Yeah.
When you're in the map with the connections, when you click somebody's profile, it would be nice to be able to add to your connections there, instead of having to go back to the connections page and then saying what kind of connection you have with them.
Yeah, that's really good feedback, Rael. Thank you. All right, then we are going to go into breakouts and you'll get an opportunity to meet somebody new. So I'm going to create these rooms.
Nancy, can you remind me what your intro was, your background to this group?
The intro to the group is that I know Denise. My husband and I bought a condo in the same complex that she's in, and we were both in healthcare. And this was really fun.
Good.
I am mostly an introvert, but it was very fun talking to everyone. You're all very easy to talk to and enjoyable.
Good.
Nancy, would it be okay with you if I introduced you to Grace?
Yes.
Okay, so Nancy's being a little bit humble. She's got a 40-year experience working in a community hospital, and she worked in mammogram for 25 years in a managerial role. And she was really working to make some serious change when, unfortunately, she had elimination of her position in December. So she's trying to reinvent herself, and she's got a wealth of experience.
Thank you.
Good job, Trisha.
Nice, Trisha. Very
and
sweet.
Thanks, Trisha, for reminding me. I was multitasking at the top of the hour.
No. And I didn't hear until we talked again.
There's such a theme of reinvention, right?
Mm-hmm.
Big theme going on here.
So Denise,
Michelle wants to say something.
I just opened Nancy,
Uh-huh.
and I want to now demonstrate our connection. I can't remember how to do it already. I see
Are
her
you on-
profile.
Are
Do you
on
want to
the
show your screen?
connection tab?
Why don't you share your screen?
Maybe not. I will share my screen. Oh, send request.
Oh, yep. Allow.
All right. So I've put, is this Nancy? Is this you? The right Nancy?
That's
Yep.
her. You're going to want to go to the connections tab, though.
Oh, right here.
Yep.
Got you.
And then there in the search, type Nancy, and she'll come up. There you go.
Here we go.
That's
That's
Amy.
Amy.
That's Amy Hernandez. Somehow she got in there.
Yep.
Yes, it is.
But there's Nancy. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah,
Beautiful.
how did Amy get in there when you
Because-
searched Nancy?
There's two of them.
I assume it came up at first because of the NAN. I don't know why it hung out though.
Oh, there it is. Yeah. NAN.
Yeah.
Sure.
We all learned something.
That's right.